What's up, Transformers fans? Mondo here, and welcome to week 31 of Moonbase 84's year-long celebration, celebrating 40 years of Grimlock and the Dinobots. Now, if you've been following the Transformers news this past weekend at SDCC, you'll know that we are getting an Age of Extinction Titan-class Grimlock next year. A figure, if you've been watching my coverage over the weekend, that I'm absolutely gushing about. So I figured it'd be a great time to take a look at the first offering of an Age of Extinction Grimlock, and that is the Age of Extinction Voyager class Grimlock. And as you can see here, we have the Voyager Age of Extinction Grimlock all transformed up into his Dino mode. And over the years, the Dinobot Bayverse designs have really grown on me. They're not my favorite, but you know, I like them basically a lot more than I used to, especially in Grimlock's head in the movie. Looks like a chicken, everybody knows. But anyway, here is the figure we're talking about today. One thing I love what they did when the Dinobots first came out for the Age of Extinction movie was, instead of using their screen accurate color schemes, the blacks, grays, and silvers, they gave them a bunch of color. Each Dinobot in the line for the toy has distinct colors, and I think it does the Dinobot toys for Age of Extinction a lot of service because it makes them all really pop. And here you can see Grimlock has a bunch of colors going on, and we'll take a closer look at that head sculpt. He has some silver, and then just some gray plastic, some nice shiny silver, and then on his arms and parts of his back he has this, it's bronze, but it comes off like an orangish bronze. I don't know how to quite describe it, but we got some blacks. They made him into a tiger. As you can see, he's got some tiger stripes. And then you have his tail, which is basically his club weapon, his mace weapon, which I don't like, and I usually display him without it. And it does make his tail a little stubby, but I think it looks loads better like that. And also, looking closer at the figure, coming back for a closer look, I like the sculpt on him. All of the Dinobots from that movie, of course, have this like bony exoskeleton armor plating type vibe going on. It's really hard to describe, but they translated that really well in this toy. And you can see the plates and the, you know, all the exoskeleton design throughout. It's hard to describe what it really is. He's got the spiky tail. And then what I want to say about Grimlock specifically is that he's supposed to be a T-Rex, but to me, he doesn't look anything like a T-Rex. To me, the vibe he gives is like a Chinese dragon type vibe, just because of the head. I know Chinese dragons have the long, like serpent-like bodies, but his head just gives off a Chinese dragon type, like I said, vibe to me. All it needs is a little mustache, actually. If you look right here, if you painted that black, you'd have the little mustache that sometimes they depict dragons as in China, as looking like. Get his nice teeth unpainted. I wish they were kind of painted. Maybe that silver that we get on the top here, if they're painted there, it'd been cool. Pretty cleaned up overall. He does have a little gimmick. You got a little button here, and if you push it, he chomps, rah, rah, rah. Besides that, for Dino mode, articulation, he doesn't have anything in the head except for the chomping gimmick, but his little dino arms are on a ball joint and they swivel all around, no elbow or anything. And then his legs have articulation. They can go out just about all the way, and they swivel here, and then you got the swivel here, and then you got bend here, bend there, and then this back heel. So yeah, beside it, and then nothing in the tail, but the legs are really articulated for Dino mode. Sometimes we don't get that as much articulation, so that is pretty cool. If I can get him to stand back up straight. So yeah, overall, really cool looking. Again, it doesn't remind me of a T-Rex, but still pretty cool. Oh, I almost forgot his little ears that also add to that dragon look. Can flip up, so now he looks like a dog dragon. So yeah, pretty cool, if not screaming T-Rex to me. And here's Grimlock next to the Age of Extinction Deluxe Slash that we already covered during this celebration. And as we know, of course, Slash didn't actually make it into the movie. Still love the colors. Again, I like how they switched up the colors on all the Dinobots. Supposed to be a raptor. Doesn't scale that great with this Grim, but I guess we can make Grim a little taller to do a little bit of better job. So do that maybe. Let's get him taller. Maybe a little bit taller. There we go. Still not the best scale, but still pretty cool. Maybe it's a Utah Raptor, but they weren't as big as a T-Rex either, but still look pretty cool together, even though they don't scale so hot together. Now we'll go ahead and transform Grimlock up, and we will take a look at his robot mode. So here's Grimlock all transformed up into robot mode, and as I said, I've really over the years have warmed up to this design, especially when it's in different colors besides, you know, the black and the silvers that we saw in the movie and the grays. Just like in the movie, all the Dinobots in the Age of Extinction toy line and robot modes have like a medieval design because they were supposed to be ancient warriors. A lot of them look like medieval knights, but to me, Grimlock looks more like a samurai, and that goes back to like the Chinese dragon vibe I got from his Dino mode, which I know samurais weren't Chinese, but an Asian dragon overall, and so that is really fitting. And as we take a closer look, like even the color scheme, like the bronze in this style color scheme and the plating looks like samurai armor to me. And even the helmet, you know, the helmet to me looks like Shredder from the Ninja Turtles. So yeah, pretty cool. And then get a closer look at the head sculpt. There is some nice detail in there. You can see like little like teeth sculpt, which is pretty cool. Thankfully he doesn't look like the chicken like that one scene in the movie. And I like the silvers going across his chest. And again, all that plating to me, even with the side armor here for his hips, screams samurai to me. So yeah, pretty cool there. Down to the legs, he does have some nice detail in there. And then of course all these Dinobots have spiky feet like the medieval like armored boots. And the back, not too shabby of a back. He does have the back of his dino jaw hanging off his butt, but that's okay. A little hollowness, but still really cool. And just standing there, he looks like a Grimlock should. Strong and imposing. Articulation, his head can look full, all like left and right, obviously. Can look up a tad bit, look down more so. Not a lot of tilt. This stuff gets in the way. You can't do a full 360 really with his head or tilt because his plates for his dino heads get in the way, but that's all right. That's not a deal breaker. So arm can go out like that. Rotates. You get the swivel. He has the dreaded gorilla arms, which people don't like, and I'm one of them. I prefer the regular, you know, elbow bend. But with this Grimlock, you can do it. You just can unplug his dino foot because his wrist does swivel. Rotate the bicep, and there you go. It just doesn't plug back. You can't plug it in, but I mean, it's not like it's pushed in much further than it was when it was plugged in anyway, so no big deal. He doesn't have a waist, but he does have, you can move this, if you want to move the skirt out of the way, the hip pads, you can get more of a split. But he kicks forward, you can move this part up as well. Kicks back, upper thigh rotation, knee bend to about 90. His foot does go down, but not up. And then he has a broken leg pivot, more so than an ankle. But at least it's there for you to use if you need a little more articulation. On my copy, he does, get this hip pad back in. On my copy, when you move his arms, sometimes this piece you move for transformation does like to pop off, you know, and start transforming. He's not as bad. He does have some stuff in the way, but he's not as bad as like Slash, where all the parts when you're trying to articulate her in robot mode seem to crash in each other and get in the way. And then of course you can take the weapon, which was his extendo tail, which I already said I hate, his mace, and he can hold it with this handle here instead of here, which I am not a fan of when they do that, because I should have put it in the other hand because it's more orientated to the way I like it. Let's do this. But I'm not a fan of that because you wouldn't wield it like that per se. I wouldn't think you would hold on to the handle itself. It's got that vibe. Transformers does this from time to time. Was it the Legacy Knockout has the same deal? I absolutely do not like that. And here's Grimlock with the Age of Extinction Deluxe Class Scorn. Another figure we covered over this 40-year celebration, and I absolutely love this figure. Really awesome figure in my opinion. I do want to get the Voyager to test him out. I never had the Voyager. Commands quite a bit of money on the aftermarket, but if I can find a deal, I would love to have that Scorn Voyager. But of course, we're going to get all these guys in Titans, not just Grimlock. Anybody that wasn't, well, all the Dinobots that were actually in the movie. So I believe that would be Grimlock, Scorn, Strafe, and Slug, and I absolutely can't wait to have them all. Gonna have to find some space, but yeah. But I do want the Voyager because the Voyager is an awesome figure as well. So that is my look at the Transformers Age of Extinction Voyager class Grimlock. Really solid Grimlock figure. I love that for the Age of Extinction line. They went with giving the Dinobots, all the Dinobots color instead of the grays and blacks and silvers. That would have made for a kind of dull looking display on the shelf in my opinion. I really like them. They're separate color schemes that makes them really pop on a shelf. This Grimlock as a figure is really cool, really fun. I enjoy his transformation. It's not a pain in the butt. Things don't get in the way. It's just a nice, fun, little simple transformation, which I do enjoy. He articulates pretty nicely. And just like even in robot mode, he looks big and beefy, like I said, just imposing as a Grimlock should. You don't want to mess with this guy. So yeah, really cool Voyager figure. And you can still get this guy really cheap because I was looking, like I'm always searching for Grimlocks, like on eBay and things. And you can still get him really cheap for like the price of a Voyager now, which is really cool. So he doesn't command a big aftermarket price. But yeah, really solid Grimlock in my opinion. The Dino mode is pretty cool, even though it's not a T-Rex per se. It's not really a T-Rex, but still a pretty fun little Dino mode, except for when you put that tail on, it just makes him look ugly. But I guess that'll wrap things up. Just realized that we're well on our way for this 40-year celebration of Grimlock and the Dinobots of completing the Age of Extinction team, which when I first set out to do this 40-year celebration, I didn't have anything like that in mind, like I wanted to complete sets or teams of Dinobots, but we did already complete the animated team, and now we're well on the way of completing the Age of Extinction. So who knows, maybe we will during this 40-year celebration. We've got what, 21 weeks left? So maybe we will. That'll wrap things up for this week, and until next time, thanks for docking.